Dorothy Hodgkin. Dorothy Mary Crowfoot Hodgkin OM FRS HonFRSC, born on the 12th of May 1910, die on the 29th of July 1994, was a Nobel Prize-winning British chemist who advanced the technique of X-ray crystallography to determine the structure of biomolecules, which became essential for structural biology. Among her most influential discoveries are the confirmation of the structure of penicillin as previously surmised by Edward Abraham and Ernst Boris Chain, and the structure of vitamin B12, for which in 1964 she became the third woman to win the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Hodgkin also elucidated the structure of insulin in 1969 after 35 years of work. Hodgkin used the name Dorothy Crowfoot until 12 years after marrying Thomas Lionel Hodgkin, when she began using Dorothy Crowfoot Hodgkin. Hodgkin is referred to as Dorothy Hodgkin by the Royal Society, when referring to its sponsorship of the Dorothy Hodgkin Fellowship, and by Somerville College. The National Archives of the United Kingdom refer to her as Dorothy Mary Crowfoot Hodgkin. In 1928, at age 18, she entered Somerville College, Oxford, where she studied chemistry. She graduated in 1932 with a first-class honors degree, the third woman at this institution to achieve this distinction. In the autumn of that year, she began studying for a PhD at Newnham College, Cambridge, under the supervision of John Desmond Bernal. It was then that she became aware of the potential of X-ray crystallography to determine the structure of proteins. She was working with Bernal on the technique's first application to the analysis of a biological substance, pepsin. The pepsin experiment is largely credited to Hodgkin, however she always made it clear that it was Bernal who initially took the photographs and gave her additional key insights. Her PhD was awarded in 1937 for research on X-ray crystallography and the chemistry of sterols. In 1933, Hodgkin was awarded a research fellowship by Somerville College, and in 1934, she moved back to Oxford. The college appointed her its first fellow and tutor in chemistry in 1936, a post which she held until 1977. In the 1940s, one of her students was Margaret Roberts, later Margaret Thatcher, who, while Prime Minister, hung a portrait of Hodgkin in her office at Downing Street out of respect for her former teacher. Hodgkin was, however, a lifelong Labour Party supporter. In April 1953, together with Sidney Brenner, Jack Dunitz, Leslie Orgel, and Beryl M. Otten, Hodgkin was one of the first people to travel from Oxford to Cambridge to see the model of the double helix structure of DNA, constructed by Francis Crick and James Watson, which was based on data and technique acquired by Maurice Wilkins and Rosalind Franklin. According to the late Dr. Beryl Otten, married name, Remmer, they drove to Cambridge in two cars after Hodgkin announced that they were off to see the model of the structure of DNA. Hodgkin became a reader at Oxford in 1957 and she was given a fully modern laboratory the following year. In 1960, Hodgkin was appointed the Royal Society's Wolfson Research Professor, a position she held until 1970. This provided her salary, research expenses and research assistance to continue her work at the University of Oxford. She was a Fellow of Wolfson College, Oxford, from 1977 to 1983. Steroid structure. Hodgkin was particularly noted for discovering three-dimensional biomolecular structures. In 1945, working with C. H. Harry Carlisle, she published the first such structure of a steroid, cholesterol iodide, having worked with cholesterols since the days of her doctoral studies. Penicillin structure. In 1945, Hodgkin and her colleagues, including biochemist Barbara Lowe, solved the structure of penicillin, demonstrating, contrary to scientific opinion at the time, that it contains a beta-lactam ring. The work was not published until 1949. Vitamin B12 structure. In 1948, Hodgkin first encountered vitamin B12 and created new crystals. Vitamin B12 had first been discovered at Merck earlier that year. It had a structure at the time that was almost completely unknown, and when Hodgkin discovered it contained cobalt, she realized the structure actualization could be determined by X-ray crystallography analysis. The large size of the molecule, and the fact that the atoms were largely unaccounted for, aside from cobalt, posed a challenge in structure analysis that had not been previously explored. From these crystals, she deduced the presence of a ring structure because the crystals were pleochroic, a finding which she later confirmed using X-ray crystallography. The B12 study published by Hodgkin was described by Lawrence Bragg as being as significant as breaking the sound barrier. Scientists from Merck had previously crystallized B12, but had published only refractive indices of the substance. The final structure of B12, for which Hodgkin was later awarded the Nobel Prize, was published in 1955. Insulin structure. Insulin was one of Hodgkin's most extraordinary research projects. It began in 1934 when she was offered a small sample of crystalline insulin by Robert Robinson. The hormone captured her imagination because of the intricate and wide-ranging effect it has in the body. However, at this stage X-ray crystallography had not been developed far enough to cope with the complexity of the insulin molecule. She and others spent many years improving the technique. It took 35 years after taking her first photograph of an insulin crystal for X-ray crystallography and computing techniques to be able to tackle larger and more complex molecules like insulin. Hodgkin's dream of unlocking the structure of insulin was put on hold until 1969 when she was finally able to work with her team of young, international scientists to uncover the structure for the first time. Hodgkin's work with insulin was instrumental in paving the way for insulin to be mass-produced and used on a large scale for treatment of both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. She went on to cooperate with other laboratories active in insulin research, giving advice, and traveling the world giving talks about insulin and its importance for the future of diabetes. Solving the structure of insulin had two important implications for the treatment of diabetes, both making mass production of insulin possible and allowing scientists to alter the structure of insulin to create even better drug options for patients going forward. Political views and activities. Because of Hodgkin's political activities, and her husband's association with the Communist Party, she was banned from entering the US in 1953 and subsequently not allowed to visit the country except by CIA waiver. In 1961 Thomas became an advisor to Kwame Nkrumah, president of Ghana, a country he visited for extended periods before Nkrumah's ouster in 1966. Hodgkin was in Ghana with her husband when they received the news that she had been awarded the Nobel Prize. Dorothy Hodgkin was never a communist. She acquired from her mother, Molly, a concern about social inequalities and a determination to do what she could to prevent armed conflict. Dorothy became particularly concerned about the threat of nuclear war. In 1976, she became president of the Pugwash Conference and served longer than any who preceded or succeeded her in this post. She stepped down in 1988, the year after the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty imposed a global ban on short and long-range nuclear weapon systems, as well as an intrusive verification regime. She accepted the Lenin Peace Prize from the Soviet government in 1987 in recognition of her work for peace and disarmament. Disability and death. Due to distance, Hodgkin decided not to attend the 1987 Congress of the International Union of Crystallography in Australia. However, despite increasing frailty, she astounded close friends and family by going to Beijing for the 1993 Congress, where she was welcomed by all. She died in July 1994 after a stroke, at her husband's home in the village of Ilmington, near Shipston-on-Stour, Warwickshire. Thanks for watching HerStory channel. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe our channel.